right, and good morning, everybody, and welcome to Train World TV. And first off, we want to thank everyone for participating, joining us for Train World Virtual York Week. We had some great conversations, layout tours, manufacturers join us. We had Lou Palumbo, Hal Miller, Classic Toy Trains for the first night. The second night, Jeb Kriegel, Mega Steam Smoke Fluid, and TW Trainworks Layouts. Thursday was action-packed with manufacturers. We had Lionel, Williams, Atlas, MTH, Angela Trotta Thomas. And today, starting at 9 a.m., grab your cup of coffee because we're going through the club virtual layout tour. We have some great local clubs for you. Nassau Lionel Operating Engineer Clubs right out here on Long Island, starting at 9 a.m. New Jersey High Railers, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. is going to be TMB Club. So it's going to be action-packed. You'll get to know their history, where they're located, and see some trains running on some of these incredible layouts. A lot of train, model train people are part of club memberships, which is great because you get to test out your trains, run your trains on some of these huge layouts. So it's really nice to see and participate. So definitely see if there's a local club if you haven't joined. It's great to be a part of something, and you get to learn features if you like different manufacturers, because you get to test a lot of things, which is really nice. But we're doing a virtual York super sale. So if you're signed up for email sales, you'll be getting a discount code word. If not, make sure you signed up, and make sure you sign up for Train World Text. We're doing only virtual events like this, or really big super sales. We'll send a text straight to your phone. Go to trainworldtext.com to find out more information. We also will be doing last giveaway for the virtual York, 2 hats. So for whoever's watching today, put your zip code and name. We're going to be raffling off 2 hats. So zip code, name, and maybe even state. Put it in the chat. Maybe a train emoji, fire emoji. Put it in the chat. Let's see it. We'll pick out 2 winners. We already had a bunch of great winners. Jim, Mark, Cody, another Jim. So a lot of great winners already. So now that I've been wrapping up, opening act, we have NLOE, Nassau Lionel Operating Engineers Club. The cameraman now is Anthony Wong, who actually helps us out part-time. He's a great, young, ambitious train engineer. He knows everything about model trains. Tin plate is his specialty. All the virtual creativeness and banners and videos. Anthony is a very super talented, and I can't say enough great things about him. He's a really great kid, and he'll be behind the camera, and he'll be introducing his friend Matt, who's part of the club, and Matt's a great guy as well. And that's one thing about these train clubs. I mean, NLOE has some great young membership, which is great to see. And they do have President Bob Trinka there. Greg is the VP. Greg's a great young guy. So really cool. And without further ado, and I'll soon to unmic NLOE, but they're a great club, and we're going to start off with their club. And I want everyone to put in the chat if the great feedback. Once you see their layout, you guys are going to love it. So without further ado, the NLOE. Hey, Ant.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to the Nassau Lionel Operating Engineers. My name is Matthew, and today I'm going to be giving you a full tour of our wonderful display here, our home away from home, if you could say. Before we get started, I got to take a big moment to say We wanted, from myself and all the members here, we want to thank Ken Bianco Jr. and all the folks over at Train World for allowing us to do this today and just bringing the spirit of York alive, keeping it alive during these tough times. And we're here to showcase to you this wonderful layout. All the folks over at Train World, you guys do a wonderful job. Keep it up. And we're here to show you a great layout. So before we get into the actual action and display of the layout, I want to take you guys into a little bit of a history tour of our club. So we were founded in 1983. We're one of the oldest operating layouts here in the New York area. Our layout is 80 by 30. It's an L-shaped layout. This is our second location. Our original location was still here in Levittown, Long Island. But unfortunately, we lost that lease, so we now have moved to this location, which is even bigger and better. So we have 4 main lines here. We're a high rail based club, so this is a fully scaled, detailed layout. We have 4 main lines, as well as a mountain line and a branch line. We also have 2 operating yards that we're going to showcase to you today. The layout is fully compatible with every manufacturer. We use Lionel, MTH, K-Line, Atlas, you name it, we use it. The layout also is compatible with TMCC, Lionel Legacy, as well as MTH TCS and DCS Wi-Fi. So this whole layout can get controlled by our phones, which is fantastic. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. So this is our north side of the layout here. You can see this is where all 4 of our main lines meet. We have a lot of trains under this layout today, including something very special just for today. We have 2 MTH Premier Pennsylvania Railroad Texas locomotives pulling a 60-car train. That just gives you the rough idea of how large this layout is and how big the operations are here. So you get a real sense of realism here on this layout. Just an awesome engine, and we also just had the Union Pacific Big Boy passing us pulling a 30-car reefer train, which is really awesome. So let's get into some of the details here. So when you come down, this is basically the grand entrance, so to speak. This is where everybody comes and gets wowed right off the bat. So as you can see here, this is our little hobo section where we have an abandoned track line, lots of trees, foliage. You got guys hanging out in the water tower there. You also got a campfire here in front of an old abandoned boxcar, which is really cool. And just loads of awesome foliage and detail. The layout, we have about 46 members currently. And every night around Fridays and Thursdays, we're down here working on the layout, maintaining it, and so forth. Here comes another awesome engine. We have our member Anthony, our cameraman. This is his Weaver Santa Fe passenger train here, Valley Flyer. Beautiful set, pulling a set of MTH Premier streamlined passenger cars. Really nicely done. So something else we need to mention. We're also open to the public. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments today about that. We're open to the public. We do open houses. So we have an October show, we have a Christmas show, and we also have a spring show. So we're always going to have it a couple times over the course of the year. We just had our spring show last weekend. It's a lot of fun. If you've never been to the show before, if you're in the New York, Long Island area, definitely worth a visit. But anyways, let's keep it moving along here. You can see this is our main town, our suburb section. And you can see all the loads of detail, as well as, if you look closely, you can see our branch line, which is right in the end here that goes all the way around to half of the layout, so right at the heart and soul of it. You also get an idea, just again, like I said before, the pure scale of this layout. So you can see all the separate buildings and people, and just the level of craftsmanship that goes into this layout is really special. We also have some animated scenes on this layout. If you look closely, you can see a brand new house going up, similar to like the Choo Choo Barn. So you got the guys over there building it, and we have plenty of animated scenes over the course of this layout that we're going to showcase to you today. Moving along here, you can see our oil pump facility. These are old Lionel oil pumps that got restored by some of our members. Just really cool to add that, to add the realism as well as the fun and spirit of Lionel post-war. Here comes another awesome engine. This is an MTH Long Island passenger train, something you would have seen regularly for all the locals around here. Beautiful set there as well. That's actually, Ken Jr.'s going to know that. That's the Train World exclusive GP38. So we have a lot of Long Island stuff on here that we're going to showcase to you today. And then we, of course, have Thomas and Percy here that are ready to greet you when you walk in the door, as always. And this brings us into another side of our North Yard. So the North Yard, this is one of two major yards we have on the layout here. You can see it holds about 7 to 8 trains at a time. We're going to scoop around over here. You can see one of our engine facilities here. We have a whole bunch of engines. We have a Long Island C420. We have a New York Central P2 box cab. And again, just loads of the detail. As Anthony will show you here, we have all this detail here on the sides of the walkways and so forth. You have all the oil pumps and water hoses to clean off the locomotives. And then this gives you a good shot of our yard. So this is the North Yard. This is where a lot of action happens on the layout. Again, you have about 8 tracks here total. And we can store many trains during the open houses, or casually we can hold a lot of locomotives and rolling stock in here as well. And that also brings us to our passenger station. We have 2 major passenger stations here on the display. You can fit about 3 to 4 passenger trains in this area at one time. This is also where mains 3 and 4 will come. And here comes thundering in a Union Pacific big boy from MTH, pulling about a 35-car long reefer train. Really beautiful set there as well. And you got another brand new Lionel Legacy brass hybrid 440 American. Just an absolutely stunning model. And then that also brings us to our junkyard scene here with an operating crane. This is actually one of our more recently refurbished scenes that we've done on the layout. So you can see all the old Long Island diesels that got scrapped and ripped apart. You can also see just all the extra junk piles and weather detail and so forth. Just a really nice job by our vice president, who put a lot of time into revamping this whole side of the yard. Because as time goes on, we like to add a lot more detail, and we like to also refurbish and make the layout look better than it originally did. This layout's been here since about 2001. So we've been in this location for a very, very long time, and the layout only gets better as time goes on. So moving around here, you can see our buddy Bob here operating the North Yard. So this is where the panel is that controls basically this whole side that I have showed you so far. There's 3 different panels here that control various spots of the this section of the layout. So the panel to your right here controls the passenger station. The one right here controls this side of the yard. And then behind him there controls the 8 tracks over there.
Yeah,
so
Matt. Matt.
This is
yeah, Matt.
work scene here.
Matt, I just wanted to tell you, the right where your guy is standing, it looks like a Star Wars scene.
It does a little bit, yes. We have a lot of panels that make it look like that. It's a real operation here.
Yeah,
yeah. Cool. So anyways, keeping it going. Like I said before, this is our work scene. So we have our operating crane here. Now during shows, we have all the trains running now, but we actually have sounds in this little diesel here that operates. And then you can get a shot here of the welders and track workers here. And if Anthony scrolls down right about here, you get a nice sense of this side of the layout. So it's a nice little forced perspective scene, really, that basically enters you into our world here. Moving along, you can see here we have our oil refinery scene. It's fully operational. All the tracks here, by the way, are powered. So all the tracks here we can get trains in and out of. And then once again, we have the double header coming your way. Just a really, really awesome set. This is belonging to our members Frank and Bruno. Just a wonderful, wonderful set. Very happy they brought that down for us today. Moving on, you can see some more awesome details here on the layout. We have some local Long Island Power here. We have the Long Island Power Company building there. And then we also come to our custom, something else I need to mention. Some of the buildings you're seeing on the layouts today are actually custom made or scratch built. We have some buildings that are from MTH that are going to be very familiar to you guys out there. A lot of them are weathered and hand painted. They're repainted, if you will. And then it also brings us here to our ice facility. So this is where all the reefer cars get loaded up with blocks of ice, and you can see just all the extra detail they put into this. So you can see like the ice is melting right there on the deck, which is really cool. And then you have the actual ice blocks themselves getting ready to get loaded up into the cars for the day. This is also a custom scratch-built kit. The building itself is also, I believe, from a kit. And then we come here to our Lionel Trains factory. Very hard to find kit. Really beautifully detailed. It gives you another, we like to think that Lionel powers this whole layout. I mean, Lionel is actually the only, Lionel actually was nice enough to let us have their name in our club name. So going back to the history of that, the funny thing is no other club in the United States has Lionel in their name due to licensing reasons. From what I understand, the story goes, one of our members went to York, and it's funny, I'm bringing up a York story here for York Day. One of our members was talking to one of the representatives of Lionel, and we were able to get that name permanently for our club here. So it's really cool that we're honored to have the Lionel name in our name. It just means a lot more to us, and keeping the spirit of Lionel alive is always an honor. So now moving along here, we're going to come up to our Gorge scene. Now our Gorge scene is really cool. Also, here comes a Denver Rio Grande Heritage unit pulling a train of construction vehicles. Really awesome set, all custom cars. So right here, this is our Gorge, and this is another area that brings all four of our main lines together.
Beautiful.
You get a shot here of our logging line, our mountain line way up there. We have a waterfall. The entire structure of this tunnel is all plaster, so it's a very hefty piece, and it's all hand painted and detailed, and really, really cool to see that. And then you get all the different bridges here, which our folks that visit the club love to see. It's really cool. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 different bridges that meet at this location. It's really neat. And when you come down here, you get a nice shot of all 4 tracks, of all the trains going in various directions. Very nice to see that. The bridges here are custom built. They're from kits. They're made out of balsa wood, as far as I know, and then you have some detail here of the painters that are painting the brand new beams. He looks a little tired, so I apologize for some of our workers here on the layout.
That's awesome.
Here comes our logging locomotive. You're going to see it wrap around here onto the logging mountain line. This is a really good example of why this scene is really popular amongst guests, because this is where all the other trains come and meet. So as you see, there she comes. That is an MTH 4-truck shay pulling a very nice long logging train. And then we have some downtime. We have some trains that are getting swapped out right now. But also here is our lake. We do have some water effects on this layout. So you can see here, you have various signs of life. You got people on tubes. You got people fishing. There's a crocodile. Somebody's going to have a bad day. You have a snake on the boat here. And then something else we can mention to you guys We have bunny holes on this layout. So here comes actually another really special train. Here is an NTH Premier 462 Duchess class European steam locomotive. A really rare and exciting piece. This is one from my personal collection that I really wanted to get the folks out there today to see. So going back to the bunny holes, if you look, you can see the water in the back there is a little shallow, a little different than what the rest of the water looks like. And that's because that's actually an access panel for us to get to one of our, if the trains derail, we do have a lot of access points on the layout, not just climbing up on it, which is really cool. So that's going to bring us to our downtown section. Here's one of our more recent scenes we've added to the layout. This is our hot air balloons. This is actually from the original layout from way back in the 80s. So we wanted to reincorporate that into our newer layout here. So you got the guys holding down the balloon here, and you got one guy climbing up, one guy's holding the ladder, and then you got all the people inside the other hot air balloons.
Matt, what kind of track do you guys use?
We use a variety of tracks here. All the switches are Gargraves and Ross switches. The majority of the track is Gargraves track, and it's all welded. All the track is welded, so we have a consistent electrical current, which is really amazing, and that gives us a lot of versatility during shows, so we don't have to worry about trains stalling or derailing or anything like that. And all the electrical advancements of welding your track together is so much more beneficial than just clipping the track together with track clips and so forth.
Looks really nice.
Thank you. Continuing along, this is our downtown area. This is where our branch line ends. And you can see, not the best place in the world to stop on a train, but, you know, we thought we would add something like this anyway. And it just gives a little extra life to where the train is going, which is really cool. Continuing here, you got our custom Trestle Bridge. This is all one piece. This was done by one of our club members who's no longer in our club, but before he left, he did this. This is a balsa wood construction trestle that took a long time to do, a lot of weathering and detailing on it. Fantastic piece. If you look closely in the back here, I don't know if Anthony can get it, but we have a waterfall as well as some rock climbers here, which is really...
That's crazy, Matt. Really unbelievable.
Yeah. Then you can get another shot of our mountain line. There's our coal plant up there. And if you look closely, for all the MTH fans out there, there is a triplex present. So we do have some really awesome power on this layout too, not just big boys. We have everything. So continuing along here, you can see here is our viaduct. So the viaduct here is, again, a custom piece that wraps around half of the mountain line here. Really, really cool piece. You can also see in the back there, the viaduct is blocking it, but there is our power station. Our power station, this is, again, another piece from our original display. Just, again, a very awesome custom piece. Very beautifully detailed and so forth. And now we're coming to what I think is one of the best scenes right here. So what we have here, this is the crown jewel. This is something that is a passion project for two very awesome members of our club here. Dennis here is going to be presenting our military missile base. So Dennis, take it away.
I'm Dennis. I've been with the club 10 years, and this has been the primary project that I've worked on during that time. So what we have here is a scene out in the west, mountainous area, very simple, primitive area, and what we have is an underground missile base. And it's constructed of various lifts and motors, relays, and a computer board that drives it all. And I'm going to start it off here with this button.
Attention, attention.
We are now at DEFCON 4. Raise silo bay door. Stand clear. Stand clear.
Wild. This is insane. It's an actual operating crazy.
Raise missile platform. Activate yard lights. Attention, we are now at DEFCON 3. Raise command center. Initiate rocket fueling sequence. Yardmaster, open train tunnel access door. Prepare to move train. Attention, fueling complete. We are now at DEFCON 2. Retract entry.
This is unbelievable.
Activate telemetry radar tracking. Interceptors on standby. Attention, we are now at DEFCON 1. Launch codes authenticated. Warhead armed and ready. Initiate launch sequence. Next countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Abort launch. Abort launch. Enemy has surrendered. Stand down. Close down silo. We are now at DEFCON 5.
All right. Well, thank you, Dennis, for that awesome presentation. Once again, this is, in my opinion, this is the best part of our layout. I mean, yes, the scale of our layout is fantastic, but the animation, this is something that brings this hobby all together.
and the creativity of a couple guys that really bring something unique and different to other clubs. It's very awesome and special. So
Yeah,
Dennis, thank you for all the hard work you guys put into this. This is something awesome. Absolutely. So let's take
yeah,
two
yeah,
more.
Matt, just 1 second here. Dennis, that is unbelievable. Just the job on that is incredible. The detail. I mean, that's something that no one it can't be replicated. That is just unbelievable. Really nice.
As we move along here, this is as completed as our layout is. We're always working on something new and exciting. So this is the next major scene we're trying to get going here and finish. This is our harbor scene. So as you can see here, we have some, you want custom switches. These are the most custom switches we have. Look at that curve that goes into the yard here. So this has got multiple work teams on it. We've got a lot of projects. We have a lot of ideas in mind of how we're going to do this. So we have this. There's going to be mostly this is going to be an industrial scene. So we're going to have various buildings and so forth. The yard here is going to be active for like small switching and so forth. We also have a familiar sign. If a familiar building. If you go to Long Island City, you're going to see this. This is one of the old buildings that are still active down there. We're going to have Long Island across it when it's done. And that also brings us to the actual harbor itself. Right now, it's just a painted board, but we're going to have realistic water and so forth. As far as I'm aware, the tugboat will have lights and sounds during shows. And also, here's our custom rail barge. So the rail barge here has 4 tracks on it. And you can see all the custom detail and fittings on here. The tracks are powered, I believe, and you can get trains pushed onto this, which would simulate, this is something you would have seen in real life. New York Central had tugboats back in the day that would take trains out of Brooklyn, as far as I'm aware. And then you have all the cool subways here, by the way. You have Redbirds, you have Low V's, you have some really, really nice pieces here. Then you have also some another custom building here that we're done up by a couple of our club members. Mostly our member Frank behind me here. He did a lot of the custom painting and detailing with our another fellow club member, Bruno. Bruno did this building here.
Wow.
Which is really nicely done. It's going to be lighted once we have this section all wired up. So now we're going to take over to another scene here as Frank prepares it. Here is our, you can get a glimpse of it. This is our city scene. So our city scene is hustling and bustling, got loads of detail on it. You have our fire department over there. You also have multiple buildings, and this is where mains 1 and 2 meet. And you get this really nice curve here that has all this masonry work on it. And this is also our tunnel access. This is another access panel that we're going to get to in a minute. Again, here comes that LMS European steam locomotive with 6 cars. They look like the Harry Potter cars. They're very similar in design. And now we come to the city scene. So now we're going to show you a scene we finished a couple of years back. This is our park and amusement park scene. So as you can see here, we have our carousel that plays music and so forth. A little hard to hear because of the all the trains running, but that's okay. You have a custom ticket office here that was done up by our member Frank. Just really nicely done, very beautifully detailed. With you got the little cage here, the access point for to receive your tickets. You also have the little vintage Coke fridge, which is really nice. Then you have a very familiar Lionel accessory here. Here's the Lionel hobby shop that has the trains moving inside of it, which is really, really cool.
The detail on all your points are just amazing, Matt.
We have the grandpa with his his little kid, his grandchildren with pedal cars. And then we come to some custom buildings that I was talking about before. So here is our hotel that was custom built that wraps around. And that just shows the level of craftsmanship that goes into this awesome layout. You have the ice cream man, which is really cool to see that. And then we're going to show you guys some little details here of the park itself. So here we have the swings with kids actually swinging on them. And then you also have here the little jungle gym, which is really nice to see. Then you have our movie theater, which is very popular amongst visitors. It's got Playing Wonderful Life. Then you also have here more of our playground scene.
Amazing detail.
It really is. It really is. You want to see something funny? Show them this, Anthony. This is a little dog taking a hot dog from the grill here.
That's great.
The grill actually is functioning. It's got the fire roaring on it, which is really cool. Then we come to our big Ferris wheel here, which actually has N-scale figures in it. So to do a little force perspective, when you're really high, somebody looks really small. So in this case, we put N-scale figures inside the Ferris wheel seats there to give a sense of realism, which is really unique and cool. And now we come over to, Anthony's going to step over here, and I'm going to introduce you guys to a really awesome scene here. So this is our city scene. So this is very hustling and bustling, as you can see. We have loads of custom buildings and painted buildings and so forth. We have a trolley line that's in here, which is really cool. If you look here, we have our Union Station. Our Union Station is actually 3 MTH banks put into one. It's our little secret, all right? Don't repeat that, all right? So you got the custom flags. You got the Union Station sign up on the top. You also have all the buses here of people getting picked up. You also have some little funny ha-has on this layout. So we have Superman here. Superman here is saving the day from a gunman. And then if you look down here from the little, we have a little friend here. We have Alien coming out of the darkness of our tunnels here. And then this also brings as a good point to show you guys underneath here. So Anthony's going to bring the camera in here. You can see the passenger loading and unloading set area with steps that go up into this terminal. It looks kind of like a subway line, but obviously we don't have a subway line here on the layout at the moment, but maybe in the future we'll work on that. Moving along, you can see more of Main Street if you come down this way. You can see the trolley line right down here. Here comes the Southern Crescent from MTH. Then we have here some more funny ha-has. We have the Munster Mobile. And then we also have in the dealership, we have the Batmobile over there.
Very cool.
And you can see way down Main Street, you can see our trolley. And if you look here, we also have the Fonz.
Is Anthony's arm hurting him?
No, he's being a trooper. He's being a real trooper.
Matt,
then we have some more funny ha-has for the adults out there. I'm not going to go into it. I'll just let you guys figure out what this scene is.
Matt, I got to say, you're an excellent narrator. You must have been I don't know, in movie productions before this.
Yeah. So we're going to pan over here to something we want to showcase. This is donated items we've received from various visitors over the years. We have some very generous folks out there that love to show appreciation and want to give a better home to some of these very unique trains. So you can see we have some very, very desirable trains in this display case. You got the Seaboard Switcher up top. Then you got the 730 Berkshire. And then you also got here, this is a very hard to find. This is the Denver Rio Grande F3 set, full freight set with the very hard to find caboose. And then we got, obviously, the wonderful Union Pacific Streamliner here. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. So now we're going to turn our attention over to somebody special we would love to introduce to you. This is Bob. This is one of our founding members, guys. One of the two guys that brought everything you see here together. So, Bob, you want to share a few words?
Well, we kind of started this club in 1983 in another location. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen when we started it. You try to follow a plan, but the plan doesn't always stick to the plan you make. It kind of takes a life of its own. And as the club progressed, we had different people come in, very talented people, and you never know who you're going to get, but the people were wonderful as far as getting this together. I can mention a lot of names, but that would take up too much time, but it's a unit thing. Everybody here has partaken in giving their, shall we say, talents a particular addition to the club. And if you see, as you work your way around the layout, you will see many of these talents. It's an ongoing plan. It's always changing. New people are coming. So many old people are going. But in the long run, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It comes together. It's like sometimes just by itself, but it's something you plan for something, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be that way. So that's about it.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. We appreciate that. And
Thank you,
again,
Bob.
we want to thank him because without him, we wouldn't have this layout that you see today. So it's something very special that we like to always appreciate. You always appreciate your elders. So this is something we have to do.
Yeah.
So
Everybody,
now,
yeah, Matt, hold on 1 second. Just put it in the chat, and everybody take a moment to appreciate Bob. He was kind of the founding father, it seems, from NLOE. So put it in the chat. Thank him. Just really amazing work, and it all started here. So thank you, Bob.
Absolutely. So now we want to showcase to you probably the most recent scene we have completed here on the display. So this is our highway scene, and it has loads, and I mean loads of awesome detail. And this is where a lot of our animated stuff comes into play. So you can see here we have our gas station. If I hit the button here, you're going to see the door open up, and the car is going to fire up its engine and ready to get gassed up after just getting repaired.
Neat. Very neat.
You can see also all the separate details here. We got a bunch of guys mechanics working on it. We also have all their hand tools and so forth, air compressors and whatnot.
59 caddy, beautiful.
Here, you can see more guys working on another car, well, a vintage Firebird here. You got the tire racks here, as well as all the other tools and stuff necessary to work on the cars. Then we have another awesome building. Here's our Hudson Dealership. For all the old-timers out there, Hudson is a very famous car name. The layout also, I'm sure we're going to get questions about this. I didn't mention earlier. What time period does this layout take place in? And as you can see, we have modern trains, we have steam trains, electric trains, diesel trains. This layout depicts the early to mid-1950s America, so to speak, but we also are open to everything. Here comes something very special. Here comes an RS1 World's Fair locomotive with Weber passenger cars, uncatalogued, as well as a Lionel B60 baggage car with the marker lights on the back, which is really cool. So moving along, you can see inside the Hudson dealership, you can see we have a brand new Hudson for sale that's spinning around. Really cool to see that. And then we come to our construction scene. Our construction scene here has various buttons that we have here that we can press for the kids and so forth. So here goes the steamroller. And here goes the jackhammer. And then here goes the backhoe.
That's awesome, Matt. Really neat. Your club has defined so many details on each scene. It's really incredible.
Yeah, so that's something we really pride ourselves on. We really wanted to bring as much realism of the real world as we possibly could to each scene. Something you would see in regular life. So bringing that together was something really cool. So now we move along down the road here. We come up to our diner scene. Now, I'll try to play it, but I don't know if it's going to work because we got all the trains running, but it actually plays Do the Twist. If I can get it to go. I don't know if it's going to cooperate today, but we'll try. There it goes. Might hear it a little better from here. And you can see the hot rod there. We took a custom recording. This is a K-line diner that plays this song, but a very, melly, a little not as realistic. So we thought, let's put the actual song in there. So we're good on that. Now we come over to another awesome scene we want to showcase to you guys today. Here is our what railroad is without a roundhouse? So here is our roundhouse scene with a Challenger on display in all of her glory and various other locomotives on display. This is yet another piece from our original layout. So this is our 5 stall roundhouse there. And all the tracks are going to be powered. This is another work in progress. The roundhouse is nearly completed. We have the panel for it and everything put together. It's really detailed. You can see in there, if Anthony goes a little lower after this train passes, you can see all the overhead lighting inside there, which is really cool.
Awesome.
The turntable does spin. Maybe we can get it to run at some other time, but moving along, we have our coaling plant here and also the work area. So if you see here, a lot of steam railroads had these engine washes here. So these are, you don't see in O-scale all that much. These are called engine washes. So the steam engines would pass through here and, get clean, get all the soot and coal dust and everything else off of them. So we wanted to incorporate that here in our engine facility. You can also see we have various other locomotives on display, including this size comparison here. Here's a little 060 Docksider next to a auxiliary water tank. Very crazy in size there, but that's what I love about O-scale so much. We also have here a Pennsy turbine. We also have a Pennsylvania Railroad H3. Very old-timey piece, but very beautiful. And then we have some more colorful trains here on the layout. We have Buzz and Woody here. And then we come over to another scene. This is our Greenery Scene. That side of the layout is going to be powered as well, and we'll be able to do various switching and operations in there. This was done up by our member Keith. He did a lot of custom work, and these greeneries, yet again, are from our original layout. So we try to incorporate as much of the original display as possible here on the new layout. If you go online, you probably can find some old footage and old photographs of the original display. It's very different to what it is here.
Matt, just a quick question. James said, fantastic layout. How do you access the areas away from the perimeter for servicing? That's a great question, because you have this huge monstrous layout. How difficult is it to reach all the places in the middle of the layout?
Okay. So yeah, that actually is a great question. So I mentioned it earlier. We have a lot of bunny holes on this layout. So the bunny holes get access through various spots of the layout. I would demonstrate, but for the time concern, I can't really show it. But if you look over here, you can get an access point down there where those two bridges are. And we have several access points over the course of the layout, but we made them so hidden that the average person wouldn't be able to see them. But there's our Vice President Greg to demonstrate, actually. So that's one of our access points.
That's amazing. I love how you call it a bunny.
Greg for that. But we do have various spots on the layout to access trains, not just, and we can actually get up on this layout very easily. We can put a couple guys on here at one time, like 4 or 5 guys, and the layout will be just fine. So I want to take a real quick note. All the guys that are operating the layout today, say hi, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Majority of the trains. We have all of our TV monitors up here that give us different access points of the layout for where we can't see them. Wow. So the guys up here are working hard, making sure the trains run just fine. Uh-oh. See? Well, we're not going to show that. See that, folks? We also want to take a mention. This is our club president. This is Bob. So, Bob, if you want to share a few words of the club here.
Thanks. I'd just like to thank everybody for joining us this morning, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Very cool.
Well,
Very good. Thank you, Bob.
Nice words from our club president. So here's our other major yard here. Now, this is a great spot. A lot of times we have a lot of people come and talk to some of our operators here, and this lets you get a good idea of all the action going around the layout here. So we have multiple yards. We have multiple track yards here, and then you can also see here's our intermodal yard that's functioning. We have the trains here, as well as the other access point. Our member Bart's currently on train duty here, fixing one of our engines. But that's another access panel that gets us to control this side of the layout, as well as the roundhouse facility we were showcasing earlier. Moving down, we have one last major scene we want to share with you all today. Now, we've been showing mostly steam engines and various other trains here in the layout, but we want to take the time to showcase to all the diesel fans out there. Here is our diesel facility. So our diesel facility here has various things you would see on a real diesel shop. You have sanding towers here. You have fuel pumps and so forth. And we have various awesome diesels on display here, including one of the very hard to find and rare New York, Ontario, and Western F units by Lionel.
Wow.
So beautiful, beautiful set here. If you scroll down here, we have an engine wash with buffers that, will clean and buff up the engine to be all nice and clean, ready for its workday. You can also see, while we're at it, here's another scene from our mounting line. Here's our logging scene of all the trees getting cut up and sent down the line to our logging mill.
Wow.
So we also have the whole structure here is custom built. The transfer table actually functions, so we can move diesels to either track, as well as all the stalls here inside the facility shop. Then you have all the extra oil pumps and so forth. And then the engine shop itself. So inside here, if you look closely, you can see the shell of a diesel up, and you can see the motor as well as the full chassis getting worked on, which is, again, really beautiful scene to see. Looks really good at night when all the lights are off.
Wow, beautiful.
So that's pretty much going to conclude the tour. So what we're going to do now, we're going to just let the trains do the rest of the talking, and let the folks out there just enjoy the layout.
Matt, just a couple of things before I let you go.
Sure.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, you're an excellent presentator and narrator, and everything was excellent. Thank you so much for showing your club. Everything is just beautiful. Where are you guys located?
We're located in Levittown. We're right off Hempstead Turnpike.
Okay.
It's a little hard to find when we're not.
And that's Long Island, New York,
yes,
Levittown.
Long Island, New York. Yep.
And so if someone wanted to see your trains, I guess visit you guys or even become a member, is there a certain day for open houses or events, or how do they contact you?
We have a few ways you can contact us. We are on social media.
Okay.
You can find us there. Or you can find us on our website to contact us, and we'll be more than happy to take new members. Absolutely. We're always looking for a lot of guys that are enthusiastic, want to partake in helping us maintain the layout, and want to go to shows and so forth, and
very cool.
Just have fun running trains. So yeah, we definitely accept new members. So for all the viewers today, be sure to just contact us online, look us up, and we'll be more than happy to talk with you and see if we can make you a member.
That's awesome, Matt. And I noticed that you, Anthony, and a lot of guys in your club are young, and I think that's so great and important. And just the history with the you said earlier that you respect your elders. I think that's really great that you're working together and kind of building this unbelievable layout.
Yeah, absolutely. Myself, Anthony, and another member, Blake, we're the three youngest members in club history. We're both around 25, 24 years old. And we've been with some of these guys who are veterans of the hobby, really. We've been with some guys that have been in the hobby for almost 40 plus years. So if you're joining a club is so important, because if you're looking to expand your time in this hobby and you're looking to get more use out of and more enjoyment out of it, getting knowledge from these guys that have seen it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you get a lot more sense of enjoyment out of this hobby. I know I've learned so much more being in this club, from wiring, electrical work, track laying, detail, scenery. You learn so much more with all these different, unique, diverse group of people. And it really brings it all together. It's unbelievable to join a club if you ever get the opportunity in any area that you might be in anyway.
Right.
So.
Yeah, Matt, very well said. And that's really great, because Matt kind of like pinpointed on something. Joining a club like NLOE, you get to learn things. And a part of this hobby, a lot of it's complicated, a little scary sometimes. But, by having the access of friends and mentors with you, they can teach you a lot of things, how to use certain systems, how to wire. I mean, this layout is unbelievable. And if you're just starting into the hobby, it's very difficult to replicate anything. I mean, the details are so orientated. So you get to learn a lot of the skills.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
At this point, we're ready to just showcase the rest of the layout and let the trains do the rest of the talking. So,
yeah. And Matt, you're getting so many compliments about being a great narrator. And just remember, it's all because of Anthony's hard work behind you.
Absolutely. Thank you to our cameraman, too. Absolutely. He's a real trooper, using his awesome device here to allow us to get a real nice shot of everything.
Both of you guys, excellent.
I do enjoy all the compliments. Thank you all very much. I appreciate that. I got an A in public speaking for a reason. So, I love doing stuff like this. So I'm happy to showcase it with all your viewers today.
Well, Matt, because you did so good today, I actually wrote down a really big idea. And I think you're going to be the start of something great.
Oh, absolutely. And anything I can help to bring more joy and excitement to the hobby, I'm all in.
We'll email you soon.
Absolutely, no problem.
And I want to thank Anthony Wong's parents, because his phone and all his technology is excellent. So thank you so much for supporting Anthony.
Actually, Ken, we do have one more that we would like to have your viewers say hello to. He's our vice president of the club, and love to give him a chance to say a few words. So this is Vice President Greg.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Hey, Ken, thanks for having us on. We really appreciate it. You're doing a great thing.
Well, thank
getting
you.
to show all the clubs and letting everyone show what we've been working on during COVID.
Very cool. It's a gorgeous layout, and just amazing. People are just fascinated.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Keep those custom runs coming too, man. We're looking forward to seeing more of them.
Will do. Sounds good. Nice meeting you, Greg. I've met you before, but for everybody.
We have one more special train we want to showcase your viewers today. Here comes the recently released. This is the Vision Line Niagara. It's pulling a whole pacemaker train. Just a gorgeous engine.
Beautiful.
We also have another train that's going to be coming around. If we have time and we'll show it, we have the Grass Hybrid. The recently released, the one that stole the show all last year, the Grass Hybrid 440 American. Actually, we might be able to catch it right this way. Here she comes.
Very cool. Nice train, Blake. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you, Nassau Lionel operating engineers. This layout is just unbelievable. And if you want to see more of their trains, make sure you stop by. They're located in Long Island, New York, Levittown. Reach out to them, either the website or social media. Their club has done a great job. And Matt, Anthony, Greg, Bob, everybody over there today, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate having you.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. So that was a first great layout. Thank you so much, NLOE. A lot of people speechless. I mean, really great, beautiful stuff. And now, because it's 10 o'clock, part 2 of the virtual club layout tour is the New Jersey High Railers. So we're going from Long Island, and we're bouncing over the border and paying that Verrazano toll to the New Jersey High Railers. You know, the bridge toll is a lot of money, so hopefully the live stream will cut down that cost and bring them on. And just give me a second, because they are packed with cameras and everybody on. So let's give a second to add all of them on. And let me bring, let's see, who do we got? There we got Kevin. How are you guys doing? I'm not sure which stream should be on for voice.
Hey, Ken, it's Kevin. How you doing?
Ah, Kevin, there you go.
All right. So what I have, the bridge toll got a little expensive, but this tour should help folks enjoy a nice Saturday, and really happy that you guys are putting this on. I want to take a minute or two to just introduce a few people. Sitting next to me is Bernie Cowan. He's our benefactor here of the New Jersey High Railers. And really, without Bernie and his family, our club would not be where it's at. So Bernie, say out of the crowd. This is the man of the hour.
Hi, I have a warehouse in Patterson. The third floor was empty, and what is the best use for that? A train layout, and that's what we did.
So we're going to give you a nice look. The other person I want to introduce, I'm just going to pan the camera, is Chris Lord. He's the president of the New Jersey High Railers. And Chris, I'd like to say a few words before we start.
Yeah, I'd just like to first off thank Ken very much for including us in this event. I understand there are tens of thousands of people that view these streams, so that's phenomenal to hear. And I'd like to welcome everybody to the New Jersey High Railers. As Kevin likes to say in our videos, the epicenter of model railroading in the world. As you know, we're a club in Patterson, New Jersey. And by the way, if you live on Staten Island, the bridge isn't too expensive. You get the, which is where I live. We have approximately 75 members. We probably have half of them here today. Everybody was very excited about this. We have a couple of static cameras that are around the layout. And we also have Merrill Tucker, who is going to give us a tour of the layout, along with Ben Fiorello, who many of you know. And we're going to pass it on to back to Kevin for a second. Then we'll pass it on to Merrill to start the tour.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start, at our subway section, as Chris mentioned, as you come in the door. These are the things that you would see as you walk into the door. And Merrill and Ben have been our longest members in terms of knowing the history of the organization. So they are going to be, I am going to point over to them. They're standing at the door by Irving, and they will now take over and begin the layout tour. And if you have any questions, we'll be manning the chat session, Ken, like we talked about. Chris and myself will be answering questions, and you are free to fire away to Ben and Merrill anytime you want.
That's great. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, so they're ready to go.
Okay. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey Ben, how you doing?
And, we're on the subway section of the layout. This is 72-foot extension.
Thank you, Barney. Thank you, Chris.
We have a couple models here of New York City. First one is the World Trade Center, which was done in-house. We did it on our laser cutters.
Have to go out into the
elevator section and a 4-track subway section that buddy Zach is running on. Zach is the motorman with New York City subways.
How to do that?
Oh, I can't do it here?
Okay, the next section in the New York area, we have the Pan Am building, which was built by Alex Millay. And we have the Grand Central Station, which is a TW Trainworks mod. Okay, underneath the yellow, we have a trolley section. We don't have it running right now, but there is a trolley section. This is an official New York City motorman, Zach Summer.
Hey Zach, we know him well.
Okay, next section here we have an Empire State Building that was built by Harry Heike and a King Kong that was built by his mother.
Wow.
Okay, underneath the city section, we have a 13-track passenger station that is connected with Grand Central.
Very nice stuff. Very nice stuff, Ben.
The subway, we tried to model after New Utrecht Avenue on the Sea Beach line in Brooklyn. Underneath this control tower, we have a number of New York City subway signs that we picked up from around the country.
Cool.
Hey Ken, this is a model of the L where me and Zach blow the horn when we pass over Train World on McDonald Avenue.
Well, that's great. Very cool. Now, how much time takes to do all this, Ben? Beautiful stuff. Are those laser cut bridges, Ben?
I didn't hear. Yeah, those are laser cut. We build them in house. We have 2 laser cutters downstairs, and we got one guy that does the design on a CAD program.
That's great. Now, is it multiple members, I guess, participating in building, or is it only certain members? How does that work?
We're sorry about that. We didn't hear that.
Is it multiple members that work on different sections? Is it one member working at a section at a time? How does all this get put together? It's so detailed.
Well, it's you know, there's such a big turnover that you know, it's okay, let's do this, and a bunch of guys jump in on it, and that's it. Nobody's really assigned a job. Everybody just volunteers to do this part or that part. The bridges themselves, one club member does that, and like we'll tell him, you know, we need this size bridge, and he'll design the bridge and come up with it. Like this bridge here is, you know, it's a 6-foot span, so it needed, you know, a metal framing on it. So you know, he designed all that, but we just tell him this is what we need, and then he designs it and we put it in.
Wow.
Okay, this section here, this was built by Alan Graziano in New Jersey. This used to be part of a larger refinery that we just relocated. When we get up on top, I'll show you where the refinery is now, because we had to make room for some buildings that were given to us that were craftsman buildings, and we call it Barron Bay. That's what's coming up next. This is all under construction. All these buildings were just donated to us. They're really craftsman.
Beautiful. And Ben, Brian had a good question. What track system do you guys use?
Well,
all the trestles are also manufactured by us.
Yeah, the L section is also manufactured by us. We started off, we used to buy it from Brian Cooper of Bridge Solutions, and then he went out of business. So we were halfway done when he went out of business. So we wound up buying our own laser cutters and reverse engineered what he made and completed the whole L section.
And the track?
Oh, the track. All the curves, or more, probably 90% of the curves on the freight side are Ross Custom. Every switch is Ross Custom. We have, I think, 310 Ross switches on the layout.
Wow. Wow.
Most of the straight sections are Gargraves. There is some Ross mixed in there. On all the elevated section, we had Steve from Ross custom make some guardrail sections. See, when we get down to an elevated section, I'll show you. It's got like a double rail on the outside, like most elevated sections. Then when we did the subway, we wanted to get a different look. So we used Atlas for the subway, which we wound up redoing to put all Ross switches in the subway.
Third rail, there we go.
See, this is Atlas track, and the third rail is just a screw head with some HO rail soldered to the top of the screw head.
Wow. Someone asked a question, how many trains do you all have? Probably too many. Now, all those gas...
This is getting back to Barron Bay. These are the buildings that we just got. We had to relocate our whole refinery to fit this in.
Very neat.
This guy built these. He never had a layout. He stored them in a storage locker in New Jersey, and then he decided that he didn't want to do it anymore, and he just said, "Okay, you guys can have them."
That's great. Very cool. You guys made good use out of it.
We just had to lower this whole section to, so because we needed water for these shipbuilding buildings and this dock that you're looking at now.
And Kevin said we have 7,500 feet of track, 70 scale miles. That's unbelievable, Ben.
This section here, this is Morton Salt. It was built by a guy down in Florida named Bernie Winkler.
Very neat.
Now this hotel that's coming up, this was an architectural model that Bernie, the guy that owns the building, found. It was supposed to be a building that was built down in Florida. They never went through with it, and we sort of acquired the hotel to bring it here.
Wow.
So it had to have a beach since it came from Florida. These are our food trucks.
That's funny.
Got some homies.
Yeah, that does look like a Miami building.
Yeah, it was supposed to be on the beach in Miami, the architect built it and never went through with it.
Wow.
This is the beach. You can see a model of Merrill on one of these lounge chairs here.
Very cool. Beautiful beach.
Okay, this lift bridge, that was built by Brian Cooper of Bridge Solutions. It's an operating bascule bridge. It's a 4-foot span.
And Ben, Rocky Mountain Train Show, is there a pit beef truck like at York?
You know what? One time I was standing on that line and Neil Young was standing in front of me waiting to buy the same thing.
Wow, wow. And Rich had a good idea. Have a scrapple truck.
As soon as the train passes, we're going to open the bridge for you.
Yeah, this bridge opens very slow, so we're gonna start it going up. Wrong picture. There's another bridge here. This is a lift bridge. This was built by Bernie Winkler down in Florida.
Cool. Wow. Unbelievable. The craftsmanship on that, it must take, months just to build.
I'll tell you, this guy Bernie built a lot of buildings for us. He was really good. He hurt his back and he's out of business now, but we probably have about 20 of his buildings on the layout.
Wow. That's the Statue of Liberty. Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a little out of scale.
That's okay. Someone said his eyes are burning for how much it must have costed.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, we've been doing this since 2003, so
Wow, beautiful stuff. Tugboat, sailboat, lighthouse, really neat.
That's a Lionel Lighthouse. We have one that was donated to us that's going to replace that.
Okay. Now, so how long does certain scenes take to build?
How long is the bridge?
It's so slow that you got to time it.
Yeah.
This is my main man, George.
Hey, George.
And this is little George.
That's George
Yeah.
there.
Littler George.
We say that.
Now, Ben, we had some questions before about how to access certain points. Do you guys have I guess bunny holes or certain places to access?
Let's jump upstairs. I'll show you how we do this. We used to have, you see the way George is standing here?
Right.
We used to have all these panels out on the layout, and it took about 9 guys to really run the layout because you needed people all over the place. So we said, if you come here by yourself, you can't run everything. So we relocated all the panels.
Okay.
We got them upstairs. We built a control center.
Beautiful. And someone had a question, and I think you guys have ability for this. Do people have like access for live cams where they could watch their trains operating?
Yeah, we have webcams. We got them turned off now because they take up a lot of the bandwidth.
Right,
But we
right.
we have webcams. If you go on our website, there's a tab that says webcams, and you
Wow.
could go to any of the cameras to see it. That's for the outside. Inside, we have cameras strategically placed around the layout, and we have.
Oh, wow.
So you can watch the train because there's a lot of spots that you can't see.
Right.
This middle one here, this is a 20-track staging yard that we have underneath the mountain. So during the show, we can bring out trains from either side of that layout, that staging yard.
Very neat.
Now these are some of the panels. Like this panel controls the staging yard. This used to be located down by the staging yard, and we had to relocate it here so you could take a train out with no problem. So the panel down on the other end, that's the main one. That's all the main lines.
We're gonna let the Jim tell us all about the panel.
Well, this panel here has all our main lines on it. We have 6 MTA Z4000s that run just the main lines. All total, we must have about 20 Z4000s and 1 line L that runs the whole layout. We control every switch from this area here, and during shows where we have trains coming in and out and changing trains around. So you can go from any line. There's 5 or 6 main lines, and you can go from any line, switch over to wherever you want to go. If you can come out of the staging yard, any line you want to go. We also have other panels down there that have our desk and terminal, and all the way down the end of the subway lines, and everything coming up here is a lot better to run, except like if you have a little switching area, and you want a little panel down there to work that. So in the whole layout, everything is from up here, and you have a great group up there also. Yeah. So,
This is very intense. I can't even imagine someone building this or putting this together. It's it's like a whole electrical room.
So this is the view from up here in the cold store, the main of the layout.
And this is tremendous. And you guys said you're the largest O-scale train club?
We're the largest O-scale 3-rail train club.
3-rail. Wow.
Right. We're 185 feet long and approximately 40 feet wide at the high point, which is right about there.
Wow, huge. That mountain is massive.
Right. Okay, we're going to go back below.
Hey Ken, another thing we have is storage cabinets for all our members. If you look around, as you're looking around, you can see these cabinets all over the place. It looks like a store. This is each member has their own cabinet.
Very nice. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff.
These Lionel Lion Chief engines are the best when it comes to running around the yard.
Very cool. How do you guys organize who runs what train at what time?
We have a giant bulletin board or a whiteboard, and it has everyone's assignments for the day.
So it's not a Tony Soprano mentality. Whoever whacks the other guy gets it. Very cool. Wow, that's neat. Now that's got to be a custom place that built that. I've never seen that. Ben? Ben or Kevin, I'm not sure if you could pop on and talk about how you guys came about that, because that's unbelievable.
And he's put away for the night. This signal, there's Susquehanna has a line that runs right by the club, and they were taking this signal down to replace it. So a couple of our members were passing by and say, "Can we have that?" They're like, "Yeah, sure, take it."
Very cool.
This area here is being redone. We're making it the Menards Pepsi plant.
Yeah, Ben, can you talk about the maintenance facility?
We're up now to the Intermodal Yard. Okay.
Very neat.
That's Mike.
How you doing, Mike? And Randy wants to know, is there a crossing signal missing somewhere?
Now we're getting into some Supreme cabinets.
Wow. Wow. Oh, this Ben, that's yours.
Cabinet, and he happens to like Erie, black and white.
Wow. Beautiful. Nice trains,
this section
Ben.
coming up is Gotham City. We have the bat plane flying around the top of Gotham City. A friend of ours from Long Island had a son pass away, and he gave us this ramp going up to the city. It was built by Harry Heike, and we named it after his son. You look at this sign here. We named it after his son, the Justin Sousa. When you go to the next club, he's a member of that club, the TMB club.
Beautiful. And yes, Joe, they do still have Tom Snyder's layout there.
This right here is the backside of the Valentine Brewery.
Valentine Brewery is supposed to be on my home layout, which never materialized.
Very neat.
And this is the home of Valentine.
Wow. Now, is Valentine Beer a Jersey company?
You can see it's a complex. Most of it was built by Bernie Winkler down in Florida. And then this section here was built by Alan Graziano and Alex Millay.
We have a continuation of the club members' different display cabinets.
Wow, very neat. Beautiful stuff. That's pretty cool how you get to display the club members' trains and keep it there. So when they do visit the club, they could run their own trains. It's nice to have them all displayed like that.
Okay, Gotham City has an operating Batmobile. We set up some buttons for the kids to press as they come in. So if you press the Batmobile button, the Batmobile chases the Joker in a car around the inside of Gotham City. It also puts the bat signal up on the wall.
Very cool.
If you look through this city, there's a bunch of superheroes on the roofs. One of our members is really into Batman.
That's wild. Really cool. That was a good idea.
And I heard that Batman is a fan of Taco Bell.
And Kevin, not sure if you could answer this question. What's your biggest yard do you have in the layout?
We're in the wharf area down here where all of the ships come in.
Beautiful. That's really cool. And actually, Jersey has a lot of trains. When we actually go to York every time, I always see different yards and trains going by. So a lot of real live trains when you're passing through Jersey.
That's one of the bonds. We have 4 bonds.
These hopper cars are being pushed up to the coal depot.
Oh, that's neat. Very cool. Yeah,
There's a
Randy.
barge underneath the tipple that has a hollowed out bottom, and the coal goes into a bucket that's underneath the layout.
Yeah, Ben, I see a lot of comments about food. I guess you guys got a private chef there, or it must be all that Italians cooking.
Now the next part is really cool. We have a magnet in the track that automatically uncouples the car. It goes down into the ready track.
Oh, that's cool.
That was designed after a Conrail, which was a Reading before that, down in Philadelphia.
Yeah, show that one again. Really nice. Cool.
This 060 is the new Lionel. Lionel 2. How cool is that?
That's wild. Really cool, Ben.
This
Greg,
bridge we have here is one of the first ones we installed. We call it the Popsicle Bridge.
yeah, Greg, I haven't been there yet, but definitely got to stop by and see it in person for sure.
Yeah, they bloom early May. They have beautiful white or pink flowers for about less than a week.
And Ben, do you have some of these cards weathered?
In the yard were part of the donation that we got in those Craftsman buildings. If you look at the loads on these things, they're incredible. This section coming up, we tried to model after Newark, New Jersey. If you come from New Jersey, you call it Newark. The large station there is an exact scale model of Broad Street Station in Newark. Broad Street Station. So we're in the process of replacing the tracks in the street. We're getting these automated cars to run through the street. You can see the tracks laying there. So we'll have a trolley and cars running around this area. The Broad Street Station has elevated tracks behind it, which we have. You can see that Hiawatha sitting back there. Every track is connected to every track. So if you see any siding, get anywhere.
Beautiful stuff.
Of course, we have the fireworks factory that blew up.
Very nice. And some of those look like Woodland
Another
Scenic
thing we do,
buildings.
we have a number of members that have passed away, and we have memorials to the members around layout. I don't know if there's a couple of signs that memorialize one of the owners of the building, Marty. And some of them, we have a viaduct. It's a lot like the Fallen Hill Viaduct in New Jersey that we dedicated to Owen Stern. I don't know if anybody remembers him from the Gauge Forum, but we have a picture of him with the memorial viaduct. And we used to have a coal mine up on top of the mountain. We had to relocate it down here to make room for our refinery up on top. Look up top, you'll see the refinery. And down the bottom here, we had to relocate the coal mine. That's an operating coal loader. Tracks aren't done yet, so we can't really operate. Now this section coming up, this city section, used to be all subway yard, but it was being underutilized. So we made the subway yard a little smaller, and we added some city.
Real subway trains. Looks cool.
Another brewery coming up. You tell a couple of us to be it. This one's supposed to be from the beer capital of the world, Brooklyn, New York, which doesn't make beer anymore.
Yeah, Kevin, maybe a question for you on 3D print, any scenery and stuff. Very nice. There's so much to cover. It's amazing how big the layout is.
Okay, this is a building that we dedicated to one of our members, Marty Fitzhenry, who passed away last year.
Yeah, Marty was a big O-scale guy. That's nice that you have a building for him.
For Godfall bands, we have Jenko Wild. somebody requested the World Trade Center building again, so we're gonna get another shot of it. Seven and a half feet tall.
Wow, that's beautiful. Beautiful tribute.
From this end, you can see the entrance to the passenger terminal. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the other side. I don't know if anyone remembers Tom, late night personality. He had his own show. This was Schneider's Layout. He had it in his house, and he didn't want it destroyed or sold off when he passed away. His companion, Bert, put it in a museum in California, and the museum needed some more room. So he heard about us through Tom Thomas, and asked us if we wanted it. So Marty Horning and his son flew out California, packed it up, and we relocated it here. It was dedicated in 2010, I believe. And we had a number of personalities, Field, Fighting Tom, all came here.
Yeah, Ben, you seem to be cutting in and out. I'm not sure if people could hear me a little bit better, but this is Tom Snyder's layout, template layout, and they were just describing how they brought it into the, I guess, their club, and just beautiful template train layout, really nice.
Okay, on the wall here was the model board from Grand Central Station. It's Metro North Railroad from start to finish. The three lines, the Harlem, Hudson, New Haven division. This is something that somebody heard about us, asked us to do it. We went in there on a Friday, come back in a couple of weeks, take it out, and said no, if it's not out by Monday, we're going to throw it. So we had a bunch of guys go in the weekend, dismantle it. Then it took us 6 months to reconstruct. That's pictures of it when it was installed in Grand Central.
Very cool.
I don't know if anybody heard about that fake FDR car. You notice that was on track 61 in Grand Central Station, which used to be under the power plant. And on this board, there's no track 61.
Very neat.
The board originally was 120 feet long, but we had to cut like 8 feet of it out to reconstruct some sections that some electricians took some souvenirs from. So we shortened Park Avenue a lot. Well, that sure does sound like Zach on that subway train.
We're gonna head back up to the control tower and
This is a subway control panel. Controls the whole subway yard and all the main lines, 7 main lines. These are like transformers. This panel used to control the old coal mine. It's not coal mine anymore. Now it's a refinery.
Yeah, Ben, thank you so
Architectural model of the refinery in California.
Ben, thank you so much for viewing. I'm going to actually kick it over to the dispatch center and just go over. But this tour was beautiful, really nice. But I'm not sure if you can hear me throughout the section, but
I'm going to actually kick it over to the dispatcher. Just go over, but the tour was beautiful, really nice. But I'm not sure if you can hear me throughout the section, but
all right, how are you guys doing?
We're doing great, Ken. Sorry about those video and audio problems at the end. It was tested thoroughly on Wednesday. It worked great, not working today. We hope everybody enjoyed the view of the layout. It's pretty darn fantastic. I do say so myself.
I know we had some questions on the Sopranos layout, Ken. We'll pass them along to you, and we'll get that up and running. That's in a, and we don't want people going in there and looking at stuff like that. So we will take a video. We'll pass it along to you, and you can distribute it to the team or whoever you want to do that. Just give us a couple days to get the permission to get into that office and take care of that. Okay.
No problem. And actually, did you guys hear about SopranoCon?
Did we hear what?
They did a SopranoCon, like
yeah, we were there at SopranoCon. Yeah, yeah, and we what we did was we actually brought one of the layouts over to SopranoCon and had it featured at the Meadowlands Exposition show that was there. Cool. We were there for 2 days and we brought it there. There's some pictures that I post on our YouTube and Facebook page. Chris also has some extra shots. We'll be glad to put them up on a Facebook page or so, and you could do that as well. It was there for the entire show.
That's great.
Yeah, it was. People would come up, and when we told them it was the actual layout, a few of the people, I thought they were going to faint. They were so excited.
Got a lot of traffic. You did get a lot of traffic.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody knows, and especially since you guys are from Jersey, that's a huge thing. So really neat.
Yeah.
And
well, we're very lucky. We have the Sopranos layout. We have another layout next to it that we allow kids to run. There was a question earlier about if we have Thomas. We run Thomas and such over there. We have the original Schneider layout. I don't know if anybody's aware of the history of that. Schneider, the TV personality, had this layout built in his house. And when he passed, his partner, she donated it to a museum in California. After a certain amount of time, they no longer had room for it. Somehow we found out about it and went out and got it, reconstructed it here. And now we have a standard gauge layout. So it's really nice. We actually just got another donation a couple of weeks ago of a large amount of standard gauge, some repro and some pre-war. So we're going to be running that stuff on the layout also.
And just we saw a couple questions in the chat about the future shows, Ken. it's all COVID-19, centered around that. We do have our show schedule up and running on the we identified the shows. We'll put them up on the website, but it's all, depending on how things go here in Jersey. But the show will be up there. We do have an interesting little surprise. We have a bell from a steam engine, and just to give you an idea of how loud it is when we call people for supper, we're going to ask Jimmy to dispatch to give a ring on that puppy, and you can hear how loud that thing is, and it's deafening. So we've got a little special treat for everybody who stayed online. And Jimmy, give that thing a yank.
So for anybody who's been to one of our shows and has enjoyed Chef Vinny's marvelous Italian food, they'll recognize the dinner bell there.
Yeah. And we also have a couple diesel engine horns that we have up here, but they are literally deafening. So we didn't want to break anybody's eardrums at 10 o'clock in the morning. But if you've been here and that thing goes off and you're in front of it, you're gonna your hair will stand on your head, and I don't have a lot to give, so it's loud.
That's awesome.
So,
and Kevin,
Ken, is there anything we can for you? Any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, where exactly in Jersey are you located? Ken? Where exactly in Jersey are you guys located? And do you have any upcoming shows, or when can people stop by to visit the layout?
Yeah, we are at 185 6th Avenue in Paterson, New Jersey, the third floor of an old factory. The show schedule is up on the website, I think.
I'm sorry, the show schedule is not up on the website yet. We do have them planned out. But given what's going on right now, we're not advertising. But we will be. And if anybody wants to get notified of that, they should go to our website, www.njhighrailers.com, and register whenever I put anything up in the What's New section, which I will put the shows up when we formally announce them. You'll get an email the next day telling you about it. Yep.
That's great. And if you're, I guess, can you hear?
Oh.
Yeah, you guys hear? Oh, okay. So
we lost you, Ken.
Nah, you're stuttering. Nah, we lost you again, Ken.
All right. Well, the layout is beautiful, unbelievable. I don't know if you could really capture the beauty with all the lagging, but it's just unbelievable. I mean, the size of it, and we always hear such great thing about all the club members in your club about how grateful and welcoming they are.
Well, any of you guys visit, like Chris said, just give us a ring. If you want some information, we have an email address as well. It's njhighrailers@yahoo.com. So you can always ping us and ask us questions there as well. We answer that on a daily basis.
And visit our Facebook page and our YouTube channel.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And leave up the video if you can, because...
Okay.
I'm not sure if you guys could hear me, but leave up the video for your layout, because I don't see TMB yet. So we'll just watch your trains in the meantime. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, sorry guys for the lag. Do apologize about that. And so that was New Jersey High Railers. Really great stuff. Just beautiful layouts. Probably one of the largest O-scale clubs, and they actually said it was in America. So that was really neat. I wish we had better internet connection to do the walkthrough tour. But I think it was just a kind of, you get a glimpse of what it is, but definitely stop by. if you're near them, or if you ever go to Jersey, it's just a really cool thing. They talked about having the Sopranos layout, the Tom Schneider tinplate layout. They have a world Twin Tower display. So really a lot of different stuff. And I'm not sure if the TMB guys are listening, but if they could join in, because I don't see them yet. I know Steve and their crew tested, but hopefully they join us sometime soon, and I'll send them an email. Hopefully they join us, and but give us 1 second. All right, Pat, you guys need to join our link that we sent. I think you may be on the test link. So Pat, if I'll resend the link again. Thank you, Rail Productions. Yep, I'm going to need to resend it to Steve. So hold on 1 second. Let me just... Okay, I just sent it through, so hopefully Steve gets that and will be able to join us. And sorry for the speed bump, but he'll be in shortly. They are on and listening, so hopefully they'll be coming in through. Just give him a second on that. But TMB is a local Long Island club. They have a huge, gigantic layout. Really nice, beautiful. So we're excited for you guys to see their layout. I've been there before. You won't be disappointed. So just hang tight, and we'll be on shortly with them. And another local Long Island club, and a lot of their members stop by. Really nice that they're able to join us today. Hopefully they get the link now and able to join us. But yeah, Pat, I don't think you're on with us. You need to scroll down and click enter broadcast if you can.
Bye-bye. Hi. How you doing?
Just give us 1 second. We resent, Pat, we resent it. So if you could, I guess, click on the link and try to join us. Yeah, Pat, if you scroll down to the bottom, it should say enter broadcast. You need to click on that. Yep, there we go. So hang tight. Steve, how you doing?
Hi, Ken. How are you?
All right. All right. We got you on. Thank you, everybody, for patiently waiting. And we got Steve from TMB. How you doing, Steve? Can you hear me?
Ken, I guess I hope you can hear me now. Just give me a thumbs up. All right, perfect. So I'm going to welcome everybody to the TMB Model Train Club. TMB used to stand for Train Masters of Babylon, but got too confusing with the website on a local swap meet. But I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you a lot of train action today. And hopefully the third of three great layouts all located within shouting distance or the backyard of train land. Switching the camera around right now. All right, so hopefully you could see the, well, this is the actual Sopranos layout. And I know we had a really good segue into it from the high rail. It was about 10 minutes ago. But when the Sopranos series was ended, they had a, HBO had the three layouts. They had two layouts, the actual one, which they used in the filming, and this is the actual train layout. And you could see some of the blood stains still on the layout, and you can see our picture of the infamous Bobby Bacala, and we have a trailer here where we do have a modular layout that we do take out, but because of COVID, it hasn't been going anywhere. And one of our sponsors is the Trainland flag that's been hanging here in view of all of our guests when we do have open houses. This is the first thing that people see when they come into the layout. And the only modifications we did to the Sopranos was there was a graduated trestle on the upper level, and we decided to make it one constant level. And on top of that, we added all these buttons down here for kids to play with. And it's a real big attraction. So it's been a great hit. And by the way, I mean, you know, I know you guys all have good memories of it. It's filmed in the train store in Lynbrook. And it's been a very popular addition. All three layouts were donated to the high railers, and they had space issues, and Ben Fiorello contacted me, and we traded them a hot dog cart. They like food, we like trains, so it was a great swap, and we do let the kids operate this.
That's funny.
For anyone answering questions, we have Pat Nardello, one of our members. Pat, just wave, and he's going to monitor the screen, and he's going to answer some questions. All right.
Hey,
so
Pat.
Screen, we look like we've got about a 7 to 8 second delay on what I'm saying and when it gets out onto the broadcast. So here is we're going to start to enter the train room, and we're going to get the view of pretty much what any one of our guests would see, starting with our infamous Trestle Bridge. This bridge is over 25 feet long. It's hand constructed. It was one of our past members who has passed away recently, but Rich Whitaker did an amazing job on this. And it was in our previous location, and the members did an actual bang-up job of actually cutting this thing in half so we could transport it and bring it back together.
That's beautiful, Steve. Really nice.
So, yes, there'll be some trains running. We've got 4 trains running on the 2 main lines. We've got a logging line. We've got a couple of trains running on a subway, and we got a few trains running on our branch line. So we'll see if we could pack some train action into this into this.
Steve, before you go, how long did it take to actually build that bridge? Because I mean, if you could just go in there, I mean, this is hand built. The time it takes to actually put this together is just unbelievable.
It took about 6 months, and believe it or not, the wood that came here, we didn't buy hobby wood for it. This was somebody's redwood picnic table that was cut up on a table saw. So everything is all handmade.
Wow.
But it was about 6 months worth of time.
Gorgeous. Really cool, Steve. I mean, the time and the effort, I mean, kudos to all of the TMB members to really make that look so beautiful.
So here we're entering the layout. We can hear some subway trains running in the background. The subways actually here, we have it's a true subway. It's all 100% underground. But here is our Main Street area. So we do have a trolley that runs on an Easy Street track. And we've spent most of our time in the last year or so putting all the LED lights in the cars and the buildings. And here's one of our subway trains going down. And one of the other additions we have, and we'll focus on that in a little bit later in the segment, but you can see the sparking that we've added to it. Most of the buildings here were relabeled or named after some of our members or local businesses. At the time I did this building, I labeled it Dean Witter, where I was working at the time. We've got a few attorneys in the club, so we had a law office. And so most of our members take these buildings home and they do a lot of the detailing on them. I'll see if I could get a little bit closer up. You could see some bank action going on inside the details. And most of that was, you could find that online if you look up 1/48 scale dollhouse furniture. But it's been quite a good project for members. It keeps people busy, and we try to engage in a lot of different aspects of the hobby.
Very cool.
One of the projects we had this past year was just a ramp to get our city scene up to connect to the main street and have it all lit.
And do you use LEDs for those buildings?
Yes, all of the lights on the layout. I'm going to say 98 or 90, in the high 90%. They're all LED lights. We had incandescents on there, but they burned out too soon, and the LEDs they also use a lot less electricity.
Very cool.
This was part of our city scene, and I'll tie in our Empire State Building scene because it's a New Jersey High Railer tie-in. I actually bought the base of the building, or the main structure, from Ben because they were doing some laser cutouts. We had it custom built. I had a custom base put on it, and of course we got King Khan somewhere up on the top. And you can actually see one of the steam train going on. This is Tom Quinn, one of our members. He's our subway guru. We're going to get back to Tom in a minute on the second lap around the layout. Tom's a very strong advocate of the subway system and a member of the New York City Transit Museum.
Hey, Tom, how you doing? You gotta love when trains go through a tunnel. Just really neat.
Passenger train running through on the main line. And here we could see, Ken, I'm going to give you a good tie-in on this engine because this is one of my engines. It's also my favorite. It's a Lionel Virginian Mallet 2882. And the theme here for this engine that's coming up is a Trainland York theme. About 5 years ago, It was about 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. I took a walk back through the Orange Hall, and I went into the Trainland booth, and this engine was on the table, and it caught my eye, and I couldn't get the money out of my pocket fast enough. But it was done.
Beautiful.
I'm going to say it was, I know it was an April show, and it's got to be 4 or 5 years ago. And the engine was pre-weathered by Lionel. And since then, I would say 70% of my roster is professionally weathered by myself and a few other people that have gotten into the hobby, into the weathering aspects. And the caboose, I had trouble finding a nice Virginian caboose, but the next year I was able to find this, which was a K-line woodside, and I went through the trouble of adding a few artistic figures on the back. So a lot of what you see in the trains is, you know, some people are purists and they leave the trains the way they are, and a lot of people like the sense of realism, and we're all for both. We you know,
right.
We do both here at the club.
And that's what's great about trains. You could make it the way you want it to be.
Exactly, Ken. That's I think that's one of the great parts about the hobby. This is a Long Island Railroad C420 coming up, pulling looks like a Long Island work train. Well, it's got an airplane car on there as well.
Very cool.
And again, if anybody, if they're typing in questions, Pat is sitting by. We're logged on. He's on the Facebook page right now, and he'll answer any questions that you have. And Ken, if I could, you know, the volume is a little sensitive for me here, but I am getting some audio from you.
No problem. You're great.
So we do have a little park going on. We have a Saturday afternoon wedding in the gazebo. We also have a young guy that's flying a plane. I'm not sure, we've got to tweak the engine a little bit, but that does fly at times. We have a farm scene. So the S&S Farms, two gentlemen in the club actually donated and paid for and installed this whole farm scene here. But as you can see, we've got a rather extensive cow pasture. We've got some Amish-looking women doing the raking and some chores. As you can see, another Long Island train now passing through farmland.
Yeah, and Steve Rod had a question. What scale is the layout? It's mostly O scale, correct?
It's everything on the layout is high rail O gauge. So it's all
Gotcha.
Lionel, MTH, Williams. So it's all O. We've got you can see the crops are good, and they're about to be harvesting some tomatoes and corn. We let the horses out of the barn, so we've got the horse scene, and as well as a couple of hogs down there. We've got our carnival scene. All of the rides do work. I'm going to turn them on just briefly because they are rather loud. Sorry about that. I had to just duck under for a minute. There's a lot of noise going on when you have 7 or 8 trains running in this room. But, we try to have some of the scenes like this where you could get the appreciation and depth of the layout. So as you see people focusing on here, you can see now my Virginian Mallet has made it to the back end of the layout. It's about, running at that speed, it's about 10 or 12 minutes to make the entire lap around the layout. And we've changed up some of the rides over time. We pick them up at various vendors at York over time, but it's another, again, it's a pretty big hit. This is the parking lot where people would access and ride the elevator up to the amusement area. We have our harbor scene, so it starts off with Captain Jack Seafood. And we've got our beach scene here. We've got all the jet skis ready to go. We have quite a few bathing beauties. Everybody's out just enjoying the water.
That's awesome.
Of course, you could go fishing, bait and tackle. We have a couple of custom-made piers here where we got some fishermen, some seagulls. We've also got, I don't know if people, we do have a humorous side to us, and we've got some of the infamous homies having a barbecue scene here, and somebody getting ready to walk the plank. I always refer to this as he's one of the members of the club that's late in paying his monthly dues. So he's getting ready to walk the plank unless he comes up with the next dues payment. This was one constant pour of epoxy that we had gotten from Scenic Express. And we were having a little difficulty with getting the right mixture. And we had made a phone call to Scenic Express, and Jim Elster actually called us back on a Friday night from his vacation and walked us through the right mixture. And we've got a couple of barges. This is a Lionel tugboat. It's always nice that when you feature in a scene like this, we could see the trains going on in the background. And this is a new addition that we've gotten this year. We were able to finally get for a good price. It's a hard item to find, but it's the Lionel Lighthouse. And I'm going to turn away from the layout just for a second, because every once in a while we get an ad or a phone call saying, are you interested in buying, or can we donate some items to the club? This actual scene here was featured in the O-Gauge Railroad magazine about 15 or 20 years ago. And it was custom done for a layout built by Clark Dunham. And when the house was sold, the new owner had no use for a train room. He had two daughters that needed a ballet room. So they donated this to the club. And it's very eye-catching, but we were able to set it up in the exact same format that Clark Dunham had put when he installed it in the basement, not too far from the club. All right, I'll try to get back to the layout now. Ken, if I'm walking too fast or moving, just let me know and I'll slow down a little bit.
You're doing great, Steve.
Okay, thanks. The oil refinery that we have is sort of an in-depth scene. It's centered behind most of the main line, so we try to draw the people's attention into the layout. This is one of our more sweeping scenes here, coming through the harbor area. It's a simple loop, but it's 400 feet. So it takes the train, a minute or two to get around, depending on the operator's speed. The train room itself is a little over 4,000 square feet, and the layout is just about 4,000. We have the capacity of running two trains on the branch line, which are the curvy tracks we see down here on the bottom. The main line is two integrated tracks. One is point to point, and it's surrounded by a circle, and we stretched that out and twisted it around the room. They're about 800 to 900 feet, so they're rather lengthy. It's the club. It's not true operations the way we would normally think of operations, whereas, drop off and pick up and building trains, but it's mainline operator that you would get. So right now we have two guys on the blue line, two guys on the red line, and they actually have to communicate with each other so that the trains don't collide and they run nice and sync with each other. So now we got my favorite scene in the whole club, which is the S-curve here going through the harbor area, and it's nice to see it. We've got two trains timed perfectly. We've got a Norfolk and Western SD 911 train and a Long Island Railroad engine passing each other in the harbor. And now I could see this is a Lionel Legacy steam turbine coming up, pulling a rather long Pennsylvania passenger set. I'm trying to get this down track side. Some of them
really cool.
You know, some of them have layouts at home, but most of them have the trains boxed up and ready to come in transportation to the club.
Do you know about how many trains, Steve?
Of that. I'll try to stay in this area a little bit more, but we try to have you know, detail out as much as we can to really attract people's eye into the scenes. This building, all right. Oh, I'm getting a good signal that everything is looking live and well on the broadcast. The Williams building, Dave Williams is the club president, and we detailed one of the floors out on the bottom, but as you can see, there's space available and looking for people to rent. So we're trying to find something, trying to find tenants for the upper floors of the building. Here's another shot of the NLOE coming over the bridge into the upper level.
Beautiful.
And I'm going to turn around in 1 minute and just want to introduce one of our members. If he keeps going behind me, CJ, say hi. CJ is 9 years old. He loves Lionel. He loves model trains. He's into MTH and Lionel. Today
that's great.
He's operating the Long Island Railroad on our branch line. He's using a Z4000 remote, so he has some flexibility to walk around the layout, and it won't interfere whether we're running a legacy or a DCS signal. By the way,
great job, CJ.
Our mainline trains all running on Lionel Legacy.
Cool. Nice meeting you, CJ.
He's also a pilot wannabe. He's very daring, and he flies in an open biplane, and he takes rides with his friend who's the pilot. So he's a lot braver than I am. Wave hi, CJ. All right, we'll get back.
Everybody in the chat, put it up for CJ. Everybody say hello to CJ and thank him for getting the young blood into the hobby.
Yes, we try very hard. The membership requirements are, we look for people to be 18 or older, but we do have, you know, in CJ's case, CJ's grandfather, Steve, is the member. So CJ comes down, they come down with each other, and they're part of our regular Saturday crew.
That's great.
Pretty much every Saturday.
Oh, very nice.
With the COVID restrictions right now, we're limited to how many people we could get, and we do comply with the mask ordinances by the state and the county. So we limit 8 to 10 people at a time at the club. But instead of us being a club that would gather and have, you know, massive train rallies on a Friday night, we now have sessions going once and twice every day of the week. So the layout has really gotten a lot of use over this period. We were shut down in its entirety when COVID hit, and Nassau County was hit pretty hard back in March and April last year, but around June, the state loosened it up when we had the guidelines and the protocol under control and established. But we've been running daily sessions since the middle of June right up until now. And most of those daily sessions are going to continue, even though we'll probably at some point get back into back into regular operation where we can get as many people in the room. The club right now, we're 89 members strong and growing. There's a lot of interest in model railroading in Nassau County. On a typical open house weekend, we run trains here from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and we average anywhere from 600 to 1,000 people all coming into the club.
That's amazing.
We do not charge any admission. It's a free show. We're glad to show the trains off, and what we do sell raffle tickets. And Ken, thank you very much. You know, part of we do get a donation, so Ken, thank you every year for the train set. That's part of our raffle prize, and that's pretty much our fundraiser. And here we can see 2 trains coming in.
Steve, Peter wants to know what town you guys.
On the red line, and I'll get into the lines a little bit in a minute when I get to the control tower, and the Virginian Mallet is running on the blue line.
Steve, what town are you guys in? Steve, can you hear us?
Maybe you could see some of the details in the weathering of some of these cars. And it's another aspect of the hobby. You know, in the beginning, I had most of mine weathered by pretty much by Harry Heike. I've since taken up some airbrushing, and I've done some of the weathering myself. But Harry's the guy to go to for commercial. Also, there's another company out there now, Deadhead Railway, and they're doing some weathering as well. Let's see if we can get a rail's eye view of this New York Central E unit coming through.
Oh, wow, cool.
Nothing like a nice long passenger train. I mean, it's a shame that that aspect doesn't, well, it exists very limited now in the Amtrak era, but back in the heyday of the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, everything was, rail was the primary way to go. This is our Main Street area, and I got to get around to the other end because we've got super streets running in the middle, and it's quite the attraction. We do establish a committee for scenery, and every year the scenery committee comes up with ideas on how to enhance the layout. This year the theme was Miller Engineering signs. And we added the Lifesaver sign, the Bisco sign. We bought about 7 or 8 of them this year.
Very nice stuff, Steve.
Hey, Pat, you know how to turn the super streets on? All right, I'll turn them on when I get around to it. The super streets, I'll get into that in a minute, but it's a nice addition to see something else moving on the layout.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, Ken.
Another Steve. Steve Albee. I was giving a shout out to.
Hi, Steve. Oh, yeah. We now have the super streets going on, so it's a really good addition. We can operate. It's a 2-track system. We operate 2 cars on each track. We were able to. One of our members figured out using a Dali system that allows us to stop at the stop signs, and people, when they come to the layout, they're just utterly amazed that there are little people actually in there driving those cars. And how do they get it to stop, and then how do they know when to restart it? So, Ken, I know we bought most of these cars through Trainland. I know that's one of your products. Cool. It's a really great addition to the to the hobby, and it's a great attraction to the layout.
And Steve, Zach Malcolm actually had a good question. What track do you use on your layout?
What track? The track that we have on the layout is all Gargraves and Ross custom switches.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like a lot of these clubs are using the Gargraves and the custom switches. Really good stuff.
Ross switches are they're I'm going to say the Cadillac or the Mercedes Benz of the hobby. And the Gargraves, the reason we did that is because when we designed this layout, we tried to get the biggest curves possible, but we had to fit the space to some point, and standard curves were hard to just comply with those limitations, as well as it's a lot more expensive on a layout this size. So we were able to use the Gargraves. All of our curves are custom bent. So we actually had to create jigs and templates to score the lines where the roadbed went, the track followed, and we had actually track bending jigs made up so we could literally bend the track around it, get close, and then as we screwed it in, it's the tracks went into place. And it's actually a 3 to 4 man job to do it right, where 1 to 2 people are holding the track, screwing it down, and somebody's always eyeing to make sure that your track is straight, the joints are all good, and I think that in the long run ensures a real smooth operating layout.
Very nice. And even the gravel work and the little grass patches just makes it look so realistic.
Ken, can you say that again?
The gravel work and the little grass patches next to the train tracks make it look so realistic.
Yeah, the ballasting is another issue. It's a lot of painstaking work, but it does add so much realism to the layout. It's incredible. The ballast is a combination of track ballast that we picked up through Scenic Express, as well as roofing granules. It's all the same stone pretty much, but the Scenic Express one was pretty much, they have a nice black and gray mixture.
Cool.
I'm going to come around and more on the inside of the layout right now. Here's our the entrance to our drive-in theater.
Neat.
Not sure what movies are playing, but they only play at night. And unfortunately, one of the few people who know how to program it aren't here today. But we have all these cars. Everybody's ready to go. Typical to every drive-in movie was the drive-in playground. I could remember going back into the late 50s, early 60s in my childhood, going to the drive-in theater, either upstate New York or the Whitestone Theater in the Bronx, and definitely playing on the rides before the movie was a big attraction.
Yeah, and Steve, I remember when I visited you guys, I thought that was the coolest thing. And I'm not sure if you could see it from where you're standing, but what they actually did is they put an iPad as the movie screen, and they could really play live movies. Yeah, there you go. It's just unbelievable. I think this is one of the most creative scenes that you guys have there. I was amazed. And so when I came by, they were playing an actual movie for the drive-in theater. Really neat, and it was a really cool idea.
Yeah, and we tried to do, there were a couple of like chiller theater movies, but there's 2 really, really good Little Rascals episodes that feature trains. One was the Orphan Train episode, and I forgot the other episode, but people, the old timers that come through, and it's not so much the kids, but it's the grandparents that come through, because they have vivid memories of their Lionel trains as kids. And just brings back so many memories, and then they see the Little Rascals.
Yeah, Steve, that
it's like it just ties the whole theme together.
Without a doubt, and that's classic. And that's what's great about, visiting a club like this. I mean, you have so many different sections that, even if you're passing by and stop by or go to an open house that you guys have, you can look at these different scenes and maybe say, you know what, I should incorporate that, or, this is a great idea. So I think it's really neat that everybody watching sees an idea like this. And, I'm sure they'll want to stop by and visit. But something like this is so unique, and anyone could really kind of recreate this. But the amount of details and thought process that you guys did to do this is just unbelievable, really creative.
And And we do get a lot of questions from the people. They ask us about the track. We've actually gone to people's houses to help them, show them some technique, assist in some of the layout building. But we do get a fair amount. It's very family oriented, our open houses, but we do get a lot of insiders in the hobby that just enjoy it. They know they can't have this in their house, so they come and do that. And believe it or not, that's how we get most of our members. They come down and they have the train set, they have train collections, and they said, wow, I want to run it on a layout this big. So if you have a club in your area, by all means, take a trip, visit the club. They're probably very much accommodating a guest session. We would gladly do that. Again, that's how we get most of our members.
Yes, Steve, you hit the nail on the head. You know, a lot of times trains could be a little intimidating sometimes with the wiring, the different systems out there. And a lot of times people go to these clubs and start off by just asking questions. And all of these clubs are just so welcoming and take their time to explain things. And you get to try different things, different, as Steve said, different techniques, get to talk to different members. So it's really helpful in kind of learning the basics or even more advanced scenarios. So that's a really good point, Steve.
You know, there's a great video out there, and I keep forgetting who put that out there. I believe it's the guys that did McComas that did the I Love Toy Trains, but he features a segment by Howard Zane, and Howard's got a tremendous HO layout. And he said, you know, model railroaders unfortunately are looked upon as those people that were too stupid to put the trains away after Christmas. And this hobby has a lot of people that really embrace the full element of the hobby, where you bring in art, electronics, modeling, operation, companionship, friendship. It's such a broad and in-deep hobby that it just has no boundaries.
Right, 100%.
This I'm showing here. This is one of my sad stories, unfortunately. But I had a few Yorks ago. I had passed through the Orange Hall and I bought, it's a Williams brass Challenger, and I had it upgraded by one of the Lionel technicians to electric railroad, and unfortunately it had to go back for some maintenance, and UPS wasn't exactly too kind to shipping a brass engine, and it was totally destroyed. So the hardware and the electronics were taken out, and it just sits here idle in the engine shed now, but at least it still serves some purpose. It was a tough bullet to absorb. So, all right, so we just got a time check. We got about 17 minutes left before we hit
yes
noon.
Steve, it's okay. I know we started a little late, so take your time.
Okay, I'm going to show one of the other aspects of what we have here is a logging line, and a lot of people really enjoy the logging line. They put the shays on. Today we're running a small 44-ton switcher on it, but the logging line itself is probably as big a logging line as I think that I have ever seen in existence. It's a point-to-point 3-level layout, and here we could see the 44-tonner coming down the line. And the interesting part about that, the 4 blue passenger cars you see were created because 3 members 2 years ago went to the Cass Scenic Railroad and they took the tour. And they said, wow, I want to have cars like that on the layout. So lo and behold, somebody donated 4 post-war Lionel flat cars, and somebody built up the sides. The cat created a small cabin and put some people in it. But it runs to a point in our logging area, and I can't get over there. It's a little too high in the background, but I'll see if I can try. Here you can see it going up the hill now.
That's neat. I think that switcher was a MTH O-scale, New York, Ontario, maybe?
Yes.
Really neat.
MTH did a bang-up job with those 44 tonners. They have an incredible amount of pulling power. The sounds are like as good as any other Premier engine.
Yeah, very nice.
Ken, do you still have any of those in stock?
I'm sure we have a couple, but anything with MTH, people are just, trying to get what they can.
Yeah, and thanks a lot. I was on. I really enjoyed these York broadcasts. They really filled the gap of really not having York because, like many people, it's a buying thing. Oh, sorry, I had my finger in the way. Sorry about that. Like many people, it's a buying excursion, but it's a learning experience to walk the halls, and it's a friendship and a camaraderie type thing. So.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Steve.
I'm going to try to get one quick line on the blue line, and then I want to do a special on the subway line. We do have a bit of a horseshoe curve here. It's actually horseshoe curve in reverse, but we've created the scene. We had a custom-built station built on the ground level, and just like horseshoe curve, the visitor center is on the lower level. Unfortunately, we couldn't figure out how to get the cog railway to make a train to take you up there. And this is one of our yards. So right now there's no trains in the yards waiting. They're all out on the main line. But there's another level of trains that goes up here. The layout is a point-to-point. So people start out at the lower level. They work their way around the room a couple of times, and then they work their way up to the top level. This little black scene here is a building we're having recreated. So during the summer is our primary work session. These buildings here were all custom made. This was a 2 by 4 foot piece of masonite that one of our members put in, and then we just had a sign built, and LED lighting was just put in this year. The plumbing supply was named after Arlington Plumbing, which is one of our members' dads. The Budweiser plant, I had done these next 4 buildings. I really enjoy the kit bashing aspects of the hobby. And this was a Corber kit. So instead of making it 4 silos, 2 deep, I made it 8 silos, 1 deep. So it fits the 4 to 6 inches of room we have from the outside track right up to where the wall is. And then underneath and behind all these buildings is a hidden storage line for the red line. So I'm going to see if I can take a peek into there. And what we did, so instead of having another traditional portal or a mountain scene, we built a building around it. So I call it the Excelsior Steel. And to pick up on one of my Cincinnati friends, Bill Bramlage, we're now employing the Middle Rail Division. So I know we get a lot of comments and criticism from O-Gauge High Rail from the HO guys. Oh, you have the 3rd rail. Well, we don't care. It makes us happy.
Yeah, and Steve, that's one thing that's great about your club. You guys are very easygoing. It's about what the person wants to run. It's not about rules and regulations on you have to do this, you have to do that. It's and you mentioned it earlier. Some are more precise and some aren't, and that's okay.
And we try very hard there to be very non-snobbish about it. We run everything from the post-war trains up until what's in the latest Mikes and Lionel and Atlas and Williams catalog. So everything can run on this layout. Unfortunately, the old post-war stuff that has those pickup shoes doesn't run very well on the main lines. So we created our branch lines that have no switches, so people can still get the enjoyment of running a 400-foot run with an old post-war engine. I'm going to try to duck under real quick just to show you some of the guts of the layout. And right now, underneath here, I'm heading underneath to where one of our hidden staging areas, and you can see right here we've got quite a bit of, well, there's a ton of wiring in this layout. There's miles and miles of it. We have 5 hidden tracks here, and we could store, there's 2 blocks in each track. We could store up to 10 trains down here, and it's strictly for the red line. Although we do have the ability to cross over from one line to another. And you can see some of the work we had done. We're trying to clean up the back of the buildings to make it look realistic here. A lot of lichen, stones, and a lot of hot glue. These are Lionel, I keep forgetting, coaling tower, sanding tower, but really nice additions. These were actually donated by Lionel. The 2 water towers that I'm going to feature here are, these are all scratch built. One was built by a gentleman named Rich Whitaker, who actually built the main Trestle Bridge that we saw in the opening segment. I liked the design so much, and then there was a 2-day snowstorm coming up about 3 years ago, so I just camped out on my kitchen table and tried to recreate the same water tower. And the guts of it is to try to find a coffee can or a can big enough. So it was one day at work, I went to the company cafeteria, and I asked her for a couple of large tuna fish cans, and the gal gave me a strange look, but when I explained it and then I took a picture, she said, "Wow, you made something out of nothing." And actually you could find it in Costco. They sell the big tuna fish cans, but it's a lot of tuna salad.
That's funny.
For an individual. But we have little mini control panels. They actually override the main lines, the main control panels, that where an operator can stand here where I am and literally take over and run the layout. We have toggles here. For instance, the toggles go left, center, neutral, and right. The right one means the controllers here are running it, the transformers, and the left one means the transformers and the control tower. We have about, I'm going to say, at least a dozen Z4000, MTH Z4000s running the layout. I got to go back and now do the subway line. So
a lot of power, Steve.
It's a lot of power, but and you know what? They've run seamlessly now for 15 years. So we've got, some of them are a little on the newer side. And
Steve, we had a good question. How do you get rid of the tuna smell?
You know what? That's a real good question. Luckily, they did a great job of cleaning them out, and cool. I did run them through the dishwasher a couple of times.
Good idea. Good idea.
So here you can see a subway train coming.
Oh, neat.
There's another one coming up. I'm going to see if I could get the sparking lights. The subway, we've got a lot of input because, again, Tom, who I'll reintroduce, is a member of the Transit Museum. And one of the gentlemen that we have, Mr. Steve Chrysler, not spelt like the car, was in charge of the A train for New York City Transit. And one of the things we have is the LED lights. So there's 5 white lights to a blue light, which is typical of the New York City Transit system. So here you could see the train coming through, and you can actually see the spark.
Oh, that's neat. Wow, really cool, Steve.
The electric, the New York City Transit.
Steve, do you know a little
sparking?
Sorry to keep on cutting you off, but do you know the process of how you guys do that? I thought that was really neat that a lot of subway guys may be interested in trying to do that at home, you know?
I don't know the actual dimensions, but we could get something out on the website on how that was made. But you can see right here, there's actually a little block cut out, and there's the little light bulbs that are put down between the ties.
Wow.
The electrical, it's just what, a LED?
These are the two powered rails. So like the non-powered rail, I cut a gap, and the train's going to come back, and you'll see it sparking again.
Wow, very cool.
See, this subway modified with LED lights on the back end of it.
That's really creative. Wow.
Fast flash LED embedded into. I drilled a little hole in the wooden tie, and I shoved the fast flash LED into the tie. I scraped off the black from the center rail and soldered one wire, and the other wire goes to this isolated part. I made the isolated part a couple of ties wide so that this would remain stable.
That's amazing. That's really neat. I think again, there's little pockets of different things that are so unique and different that you may not even think about. I never even thought about that until I saw that, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
it was inspired by a video that I saw on the O-Gauge forum. And so then the guy that did it saw that somebody had posted his video, and I adapted it to here.
That's great.
Go around a little bit more. Here is our main train station. So this is our adaptation of Penn Station, and we have three trains that we have 3 live tracks that could go by. When we did it, we intentionally left the upper level floor as a clear acrylic, so people could still see the trains and you could get the 3-dimensional look to it. But we have like pretty much in any place, we have a Dunkin' Donuts, there's an A&W root beer or pizza place, the Long Island Railroad waiting room. We have modified some plastic-filled bridges, overpasses to make our own staircases to go from one level to the other. We have
that's really cool.
The information center. We have a bakery building. We have, of course, we have a bar, and if anybody's been in a subway, you know about Hudson News.
That's funny.
There's a Starbucks all over the place, so you can't go.
And Steve, I like how you use the plexiglass, because you can actually see from the top down, which is pretty cool. It gives a different, unique aspect of it,
Now, for those of you, you could go online. It's a famous YouTube segment, but if you find the subway rats eating pizza, we recreated that scene on the side. Here you could see a couple of rats having a tug of war over a slice of pizza.
That's funny. Very cool. And that's what it's all about, Steve. Just those little scenes and adding on to it every month or every year, little things you think of. Really cool.
And again, Tom right now he's using the DCS system, so he's controlling 3 subway trains now running on this 400 or 500 foot loop. And over here you could see the switches taking you in from one level, one platform to the next. And this switch here takes you into a back storage yard where we've got 5 or 6 more tracks to store trains. I'm going to take a quick walk over to the other side. I want to feature some of the other stations that we have. And that you can see here, there's actually our 3rd rail is technically a 4th rail. It's not live, but this 3rd rail, these are the copper, they're industrial staples, and the 3rd rail was actually made out of old American flyer track.
Very cool.
It's always nice when you see the trains going by too.
Very neat.
The platforms, pretty much, other than Penn Station, this one was 76th Street. We relabeled it Bolt's Landing. in memory of one of our former members that passed away, Tom Bolts. And again, we just try to have a little animated, what would Subway be without somebody sleeping under a newspaper, taking up the bench?
And look at those subway tiles, Steve. I mean, how'd you guys do that one?
Which one?
The subway tiles. You zoomed in on it, and you could see all the little subway tiles. That's amazing.
There's actually styrene plastic that comes already grooved like that, so it was easy. It was a pre-made plastic piece.
It looks a little too clean for the New York City subway, though.
Well, I'm going to get my airbrush and weather it a little.
But it looks really cool. Really cool.
We're going to take a run around to the other. The subway at this point goes into the dark, and it appears after we go through the harbor scene. It comes up. We've got another subway station right here. So this was Flatbush Avenue. And some of the I guess the humorous side is, as you can see in the Javits Center when they used to have gatherings, Comic-Con. Yep. So there was always a Star Wars stormtrooper somewhere walking around the city that week.
Yeah, and Steve, those subway tiles for everybody watching who's not from New York or Jersey or the Northeast, section, these are kind of like what we actually have, where the subway tile do have murals and different designs, and all the signs are actually on the subway tile. So it's really neat to see, and to replicate that is amazing.
Right. The subway tiles here, this is a pre-printed piece that someone just downloaded off the internet and printed on a color printer.
Right.
So let me just get to the next station here. Like New York City Transit, the trains just pretty much go into a dark tunnel and they come out on another end. And by the way, if you're interested and you're a Long Island-based person, we do have membership opportunities. So feel free to give that number a call. Ask for Dave Williams, 516-660-8099. And it's a good group. We do a lot of other things in the hobby. We have, other than the general run sessions, building sessions, we do have an annual picnic, which we coordinate with another train group who are I'll get down there in a minute, the Long Island Live Steamers, where we actually have a picnic out there and ride the rails.
Oh, that's cool. Very neat.
I'm not sure if you cover the 1 foot gauge in your train land, but
no, but they come in all the time, and they're really nice people. All these clubs are just great, and but I have heard about that meet with you guys, so that's pretty neat.
And when my wife questions, wow, you just bought another steam engine, and I tell her about the guy in the Live Steamers, well, his steam engine cost $27,000, so
yeah,
it doesn't sound so bad. Union Turnpike Gardens is another station here in the city.
Very nice.
We're getting near the end, so this train that we just see that just went by, in about another minute, it's going to come back. But again, more of the how you could kid bash and make something totally different. Where this is a plastic-filled pedestrian crossing meant to go over the tracks. Here we've reinvented it to now be how you get down to the subway platform. So, your imagination, you're only limited in this hobby by the extent of your imagination. You could do so much with everything here. And I'm going to take one more thing, and then I just want to show people the control tower after I finish up with the subway. We do have a subway maintenance facility here as well. So the subway maintenance facility is, you can see some arc welding going on in the background, work trains. And now I just want to give one last thing where I could get more of a panoramic view, but I'll give you a little bit of an idea on the complexity of what it really takes to design and operate this layout. And it's going to take a ride. We do have an upstairs control tower, so I'm heading up the stairs right now. So here you can see, today we're running Legacy, so all our DCS remotes are parked. We have 8 of them that are available to the members, and as well as I think another 6 or 7 for some of our high-end users. Hey Joe, wave. That's one of our other operators, Joe Callio. Joe's
hey, Joe.
the branch line using Legacy. And Gary Taylor is the operator who I've entrusted with my very valuable engine. Hey, Gary.
Hello. How are you guys?
Blue line, this is pretty much a circle, but as you can see, there are 2 Z4000s, one on each side. So if we're running in conventional mode, the toggles can be thrown left or right to access or power a train from either the left or the right controller. Or today, it's just we're running everything to the right. One transformer powers the entire layout, and then it goes through the Lionel Legacy base, and that's what's basically doing the whole thing. And you got a picture in a picture. There you can see somebody monitoring what we're talking about. And hi, Anthony. Good to see you. You're coming down to run trains tomorrow. We do have some closed-circuit cameras hidden around the layout to give the operators more of a bird's-eye view of some hidden spots.
And Steve, we had a good question from Chris. How many remotes do you guys have for all these trains?
Well, because well, there's 2 things. On the MTH side, DCS is limited. We can get 15 remotes because we have to have this layout is synced up with 5 separate TIUs running in what MTH calls super mode. So it's limited to 15. On the Legacy side, there's no limit. You could, as many people want to come down, we could, people have their own remotes and they run, they just have to log in, and what happens is when they turn their remote on, it searches for the club base, and once they find it, they just enter their train and they're free to go.
Very cool. And this is a great bird's eye view of your whole layout. Just really neat.
The Legacy base that we have here is up in a high place. We did 2 things. We went to a computer shop and we did modify it. So the antenna that we have is twice the size of the antenna that Legacy usually comes with. And on top of that, for those that are on the forum, there's a guy out there by the name of Gunrunner John. And John will worked with somebody out in the West Coast to create a booster that amplifies the Legacy signal. So we have that down here as well. And then last and not least is our red line. So the same premise, 2 operators can run. The only difference on this red line is it's a point-to-point, and the operators have one spot on the layout where they could pass, which is right about here. We're by Horseshoe Curve, and they have to wait because everything beyond that is single track. So to avoid head-on collisions, they have to wait and stay in constant communication with each other.
And,
these are 2 of our red line operators today. Bake, you want to wave? And Steve Price, the guy I mentioned before, he used to run the A train, the real A train.
Oh, very cool. And Steve, just 2 really good questions. Not sure if you're able to answer, but someone asked, how do you toggle from conventional to DCS to Legacy?
Okay.
Or is it different lines per each one?
Right. On the Legacy, it's real easy. It's one switch. We power Legacy up. It runs right through the common, and it takes over everything. So the entire room is now subject to Legacy because much of the signal is command-based through the air. As far as the DCS, it is a much more complicated build. It literally doubled the wiring on the whole layout, and there's a series of relays that what we did instead of, as you saw on the control panel, where it's a series of 27 blocks per line, it's now 5 districts, and each TIU controls a separate district. So every time you hit any type of MTH command, blow the whistle, hit the direction, the bell, it runs its way through 5 TIUs to find the train. So it's rather complex, but it's all into the super mode. And what we do is through those relays, I'll see if I could get downstairs. I'll show that panel one more time. But we can actually control DCS line by line. So we have a separate switch that'll turn on the subway, the logging line, and either of the 2 main lines. So I'm going to head downstairs now. Ken, if there's anything else you want me to refocus on, I know it's getting late in your day here.
And one last question. They said how many square feet is the layout? Do you know offhand? Because this is huge.
Our total space here in the room from back here is 4,400 square feet. The area that I'm in now is 400. So the layout room itself is 4,000 square feet. So when you deduct the aisles, I mean, you know, I don't have the math skills to figure that out all the time. So we just tell people it's a 4,000 square foot layout.
It's big. It's very big. It's huge.
If you're on Long Island, you know, contact us through the website, and you know, see if we have, you know, we have our open houses posted. But you know, as we heard Chris Lord in the previous segment mention for the high railers, everything is all about COVID protocol. We sure hope that we're going to have the ability to attract some or invite the guests in to see the layout. This is the panel that I was talking to, and it just gets a little complex. Here you can see a TIU mounted. There are a lot of wiring that goes into it. This is just TIU 5, so this is 5 So we have a master switch that will turn DCS on and off. I'm not going to play with it because the subway is running on DCS. And then from the control panel, we have an on-off switch for the blue line, the red line, the subway, and the logging line. And today, Mr. Tom Quinn is running the subway, so you can see the red light is on there. I hope that answers on a high level. I know there's a lot more to that question. But if the person is in the area and want to learn a little bit more about DCS, we'd be glad to answer some questions and have a visitor come by.
Steve, this has been excellent. Again, if you're in the Long Island area, make sure you stop by and give them a check and look at it. And they have some great open house, and they're more than welcoming. Great place to watch some trains, get some advice, and who knows, maybe even join. So, Steve, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know we had a little hiccup in the beginning, but I'm glad we were able to get this worked out because just seeing your layout is just unbelievable. So I really think everybody out there, and you see the comments, they really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through today, Steve.
Ken, it's our pleasure. There's nothing more that we get as satisfying than to show off our hobby and our trains out to the rest of the world. So thank you again, and thank you and Trainland and you guys there for their support and their sponsorship over the years. And very much appreciated.
Steve, thank you so much. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate all your members. And it was great to see a beautiful layout. So thank you, Steve. Thank you, TMB. Make sure you stop by if you're in the area. And again, Steve, to you and all your members, thank you. And thank you for joining us. And everybody out there, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for joining us today on York Virtual Train World Events. I mean, we had an action-packed week, and it seems like every 6 months it's grows bigger and bigger. This year we had Lou Palumbo, Hal Miller, Classic Toy Trains. Thank you guys. Jeb Kriegel, Mega Steam Smoke Fluid, TW Trainworks, Lionel Williams, Atlas, MTH, Angela Trotta Thomas, and the clubs this morning. Thank thank all the members because they had to bring in their members for this Saturday morning to run their trains, display the trains, set up. So a big shout out to Nassau Lionel Operating Engineers Club, NLOE on Long Island, New Jersey High Railers. Thank you for the whole team. They were so excited and wanted to get all their cameras going and showing all their trains. So they were really excited. And last but not least, TMB, Train Masters of Babylon on Long Island as well. Thank you so much for showing that. It was great to see everyone run their trains and the whole display. So thank you so much for this great week. If you're not signed up for email sales or text messages, make sure you sign up because we did send out a virtual York super sale. We're doing a big discount, so make sure you sign up. For text messages, you could go to trainworldtext.com to learn more information. And thank you for all the participants for the raffles, giveaways. That was really fun, unique, different. And thank you guys so much for being a part of this and participating, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to make this happen. And we know this isn't the same thing as York, and we don't want to replace it. We're just trying to help pass time by and try to give you a little feeling for what York is, because it is a great show and all these train shows are just amazing. So it's nice to kind of pay tribute and homage to all these great shows. So we really appreciate everyone for joining. Shop online at trainworld.com. Thank you everyone out there, and we'll see you next season. Thank you.